Hey guys, welcome to the channel and another video. Today I'm going to be watching Mandy by Panos Cosmatos, starring Nicolas Cage. I haven't heard of or seen any of Cosmatos' films before, neither do I know of anything about this film. As you might already know, horror is a genre I used to generally avoid growing up, but I've been getting into some great horror films like The Exorcist or The Omen since starting the channel. So do check those out if you haven't yet. And thank you for those recommendations, by the way. Speaking on Mandy, this is one of the most highly requested films on the channel so far. Our Patreon page had a mini campaign to make sure this won the previous poll, so I know I'm in for some sort of ride. Everyone recommending this film said it was crazy, and judging by the background wallpaper, I assume there's a healthy dose of psychedelics involved along with the horror. Nick Cage was a fantastic actor back in the day. I don't believe I've seen any of his recent films, like the films he released in the last 4 or 5 years, since most of them were straight to DVD releases. But apparently his performance here is much better. I don't know what to expect at all except a psychedelic horror film. But before we get into it, to help support the channel, I have a Patreon page for full-length reactions to over 70 movies, early access and weekly polls for what to watch next. You'll need your own copy to watch along, of course. The link's in the description below, by the way. Please consider being a patron, please subscribe to the channel, do check out my other videos, like if you liked this video, dislike it if you didn't. With all that being said, let's get started. Mandy, Cosmatos, Cage, let's go! And rock me when I'm dead. Okay, so this is the tone of the film, along with spatial synth notes. Nick Cage. He was so good back in the day. The camera worker, I think, is intentionally a little grainy. Well, maybe because it's horror. Beautiful painting.
An overwhelming majority of Americans disapprove of pornography, abortion.
I think color might be a very important part in the film. The Shadow Mountains, 1983. This is so stylized. Motley Crue. They were so popular in the 80s. Alright, Cosmatos holding shots for a while.
Yeah, it's pretty
Wow.
awesome.
The color's changing.
What's your favorite planet?
Jupiter.
Interesting framing here, framing Mandy in the center and Nicolas Cage's character off center. This is the most recent film I've seen on the channel so far, 2018. I expected the visuals to be a little more updated, but this is impressive. Holy crap. These shots are accomplishing more than just showing us beautiful cinematography. They're establishing these characters to be a little isolated and alone, and they're living their lives away from civilization. Cosmatos is holding shots again. So she's a painter and he is a lumberjack. Oh, I think it died from childbirth. They're making me a little uncomfortable, but not in a bad way.
I like it here. Did I ever tell you about the starlings when I was a little kid?
No.
She must have been traumatized at such a young age. The two primary colors I notice in this film are red and blue.
His fist closed around the serpent's eye.
Although they might be happy with themselves, I think both of these characters are very depressed because we haven't seen them smile much. Cosmatos is showing red and black, so I assume something bad is going to happen. The visuals in this film are so oversaturated and stylized. Hey, I know that actor. He played Charlie in Peaky Blinders. Children of the New Dawn. So the people in the van were the children of the New Dawn.
Did I do something wrong?
I feel naked without her. And go fetch me, Brother Swan.
So this is a cult, And he's the cult leader. But he's wearing a cross.
What can I do for you, Jeremiah?
That's Brother Swan.
I need her.
Consider it done.
Do you have the horn of Abraxas?
Horn of the... what? A new color, green.
Do you know what to do?
I do.
This shot and a couple of the previous shots were really well framed.
I guess you live around here.
Yeah.
They're here to kidnap her.
See you later.
That was a weird interaction even for Mandy.
Are you sure this is the right place?
They're staking out their house. Oh, it's that horn Jeremiah was referring to. That means they're not on a stakeout because they wouldn't want to attract attention. They're framed with a lot of red, so I'm assuming they're bad guys. Even Brother Swan is scared. Oh my goodness. Are these even human?
First things first.
This is the first normal interaction I've seen so far. Them just having dinner and watching TV. The color is blue. These are definitely people, I think. But they're grunting. Organ music kicks in, making it more ominous. Oh, that's what Jeremiah meant when he said give up the porker. They literally sacrificed that poor dude for them to kidnap these two people. That was an odd kidnapping scene.
Don't worry. I guess you're wondering where your hubby is. He thinks you're so special. And I hope you realize what that means.
What was that?
It's all but a beautiful dream.
They're drugging her. Dude, this is insane. This is definitely psychedelic horror. This is either DMT or LSD, just based on the color separations.
Look at me!
The lighting in this scene is fantastic, especially the color separation and the special effects here.
This is even better.
Jeremiah Sand was a righteous man. He's a failed musician.
A wave of pure heat.
This prime lens is really making this scene even more creepier than it already is.
And he gave me his deepest and warmest permission to go out into this world and take what is so very much mine.
He convinced himself that God gave him permission to do whatever he wants, however he wants, as he sees fit. Oh, man. He's insulted because she's laughing at him? And his junk isn't working because he's humiliated. Holy crap, what a sequence. And we finally get to see a little of Nick Cage's character. I don't think he's been humiliated like this before, so he has no idea how to proceed from here.
Don't ever doubt yourself.
Crazy and delusional, he's talking to himself. His followers are so indoctrinated.
How much you love me.
He's literally petting her like she's an object.
We wasted the chemist's finest on your whore.
He meant he wasted all that LSD on Mandy. But since it failed, now he's going to burn them? Oh man, that's Mandy, I think. Oh, they're going to burn her in front of him. And it's just like the story she told Cage earlier about how his father bought those animals inside a bag. And we don't even get to hear Red's screams. Oh, she is conscious actually, and she's struggling. They just killed off one of the main characters. She's dead. This is not your traditional horror film where there's a bad entity and jump scares and stuff. None of that. This is completely different. I think the film is finally focusing on Cage's character. And he's getting out of his barbed wire restraints. You can recognize the silhouette of her head. It's literally ashes. I'm starting to think it's a revenge film because he's escaped and his wife is dead. Nick Cage's performance so far, the 10 minutes or 12 minutes we've seen him, have been pretty good. Our entire focus is on his face. He's back home. He's not looking at anything directly. His eyes are just wandering. This is good acting, actually. His eyes are just wandering. They look like one of those gremlins from the Gremlin film. He was stabbed, if I recall correctly. What? It's a dream. Beautiful, beautiful imagery. I would not want to watch this film on psychedelics. A film like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, that's something that can be enjoyed on psychedelics. But not this. He's finally coming to his senses, and Nicolas Cage is giving an excellent performance. Oh, reality is kicking in. Anger is kicking in.
Oh, it's you.
A crossbow.
So what you hunting? I didn't know they were in season, man.
Yeah, well.
Just tell me, man.
They lit her on fire!
Black skulls.
Black skulls.
Black bikes. Only seen at night. There's stories that there was a chapter that ran courier for a manufacturer of LSD.
LSD.
What you're hunting is rabid animals.
The cinematography is beautiful. It's an hour and 15 minutes, and we finally get to see the words Mandy on screen. That's a first. I have a lot of praise for this film. The only thing I noted was the fact that Cosmatos was holding shots for a little too long. Oh man. And we move back to animation again. Another dream sequence, I'm guessing. Alright, there's a lot of symbolism in this film which I'm not understanding in my first viewing. I thought he got away, but it looks like he's caught again.
That was my favorite shirt.
One of them is doing drugs and watching pornography. Damn! That's be cocaine, right? That should pump him right up. Nicolas Cage is back, baby. I've been waiting for a good film from him. Thank you for the recommendation, guys. I guess he has a chance to revitalize his career like Bruce Willis did or Samuel L. Jackson did with Pulp Fiction. Oh man, it must be that batch of LSD. Just that small bit, he'll be tripping for the next 8 to 10 hours. Another beautifully lit scene. Cosmatos has been excellent in his controlled use of light. And the absolute lack of music or any sound means that this crazy biker gang is dead. Red is tripping balls. Look at his eyes. This is the lab. Okay, this is the lab where they're making... Yep, that's LSD. I know this actor too. He played the Night King in Game of Thrones.
Why they gotta be like that? North.
Although the lighting in this film is very unrealistic and stylized, it really works. It really creates an atmosphere where you're so uncomfortable and you don't know what's going to happen next. This is the second time the color green has been referenced. Wonder what that means.
She burned brightly, Mandy. Better to burn out than fade.
Better to burn out than to fade away. Say it! That's Kurt Cobain's final words. It's better to burn out than to fade away. But I think Red empathizes because she was in the same position as his wife. Such an odd choice of song. That was beautiful. I mean, not in real life, but in the cinema. That was beautiful. That was beautifully shot. What is this film, guys? He has a bigger chainsaw and we have a chainsaw fight. Oh. I don't think I've ever seen a movie death like that. The best part of the film so far has been the cinematography and music. The music switched to very ominous, dark, I would say a little video gamey. And by the way, the original Doom soundtrack is one of the best soundtracks ever for a video game. It's that older lady.
Jeremiah says.
Come no closer.
Holy crap, this man is insane. He thinks God is in the room. Oh.
Hi. You're just meat. You unholy abomination. I can still help you. So. No, please don't hurt me.
Look at the change in his tone.
Please don't. No. I'm your God now.
Oh man! Is he trying to crush his skull? That was amazing. Again, I wouldn't call this scary. This is just messed up. That's definitely more symbolism. What's next for you, man? And now he's being framed in blue and red. And green for the third time. Jeez. Are they even on Earth? Oh wow. What a fantastically visual movie. Okay, so I took some time to collect my thoughts. First off, that was an excellent film. I didn't know who Panos Cosmatos was before, but I do know his name now. I wonder if he made any other good films like this. Nicolas Cage and Andrea Riseborough were fantastic in their roles and really carried the film. I would consider the hauntingly beautiful cinematography and visuals, the amazing music, and the way the simple story was framed as solid strengths of the film, whereas the weaknesses included some of the lingering shots that were maybe a little unnecessary in my opinion, and the pacing of the opening act. Let's get right into it with the story and directing by Panos Cosmatos. This was a revenge horror with psychedelic elements to it. There were bits of dark humor here and there, but overall the ambience was very, very dark and ominous. Although it was ambiguous at first, the story was simple and straightforward. Mandy gets kidnapped and killed by a crazy cult, and Red gets revenge by killing them all. The story isn't the highlight here, though, and Cosmatos knew it. He elevated the film using his visual and auditory storytelling, which really kept the audience's attention. There were several psychedelic dream animated sequences used in the film, and all of them were excellent and very creative. As somebody who knows just a little about psychedelics, this was one of the worst case scenario, nightmare scenario situations for psychedelic enthusiasts. A real bad trip. Like if this whole movie was shown to be a bad acid trip at the end, I wouldn't be surprised. The colors and the synthesized audio went a long way to make this a realistic experience as much as possible, honestly, for regular audiences who have no idea about the effects of hallucinogenics. The cinematography was amazing in this one. The colors used had meaning behind them, and there were two primary colors used with a hint of a third. The red and blue were pretty easy to figure out, but I still don't understand the meaning of green in this film. Some help in understanding that would be very appreciated. There was more symbolism in this movie than I expected, and I don't believe I got them fully. Films like this warrant a rewatch. For example, Red was wearing a tiger t-shirt when his wife was killed, and later in the film we see a tiger as the chemist's pet. What was the meaning behind that? See, that's a sign of a good director. He leaves a lot to interpretation, so that's a good thing. Let's talk about some of the performances, starting with Andrea Riseborough as Mandy and Nick Cage as Red. Both their performances were solid. Nick Cage shines here, honestly, and it's been a while since I've seen a performance like this from him. Yes, I've seen him eccentric before, but it often doesn't work due to a weaker script. Here, on the other hand, his performance really elevated the film to a whole new level. I was convinced that he was almost crazy, especially in the scenes after Mandy gets burnt. He keeps drinking. He looked like he was in shock and he was going insane. He had a cold stare and his eyes just went everywhere. Insane stuff. This was further fueled even more with drugs as he was killing the crazy biker gang. He takes like more acid and cocaine, I'm assuming. Linus Roche played Jeremiah Sand, the leader of the Children of the New Dawn, the cult in question here. His performance got better as the film went along. At first, he seemed like a two-dimensional character, but we get to see a little more of his background or backstory to flesh his character out. He was shown to be a failed musician who believes that God gave him the right to take what is his. Crazy stuff. Even the supporting cast was pretty good too. The actors playing Brother Swan, Mother Marlene, and Caruthers, if I'm pronouncing that right, were perfectly cast. Very creepy and stoic indeed. The music in this film was by Johan Johansson. It was really fantastic. I think he did Sicario, Prisoners, and he's a really great composer, or was. I think he passed away, unfortunately. The ethereal notes mixed with the haunting synthesizer, the lower bass notes at the end, and also the use of some very weird songs, like a Spanish song when one of the bikers was getting killed, really kept the audience on edge, and it personally made me feel very uncomfortable, which is a good thing in a film like this. I do have only one criticism of the film, and it was the pacing of the first act. It might have dragged a little too long, maybe cutting it out by 10 minutes and showing less of the lingering shots at the beginning would have helped establish the main characters quicker without sacrificing too much of the storytelling. But overall, this film was a real visual feast for the eyes. Nicolas Cage was surprisingly great in this role, and I hope he continues in this path of redemption almost by doing these smaller indie roles. Panos Cosmatos was equally great as the director. I need to check out more of his work. This was a crazy psychedelic horror film that will leave you feeling extremely disturbed and uncomfortable like it did me. It requires rewatching because of all the symbolisms and stuff. This is an easy recommendation for fans of horror and psychedelics. Thank you so much for pushing me to watch this one, because I'm going to do the same with others now. Anyways, thank you for watching. I have a Patreon page. Consider being a patron. Links in the description below, by the way. Subscribe to the channel. Do check out my other videos. Like if you like this video. Dislike it if you didn't. I will see you in the next one. Bye.